Hey there, Europe. Big fan. Always have been. Love the history, the culture, the food. The way you blend the old with the new is simply enchanting. But let's talk about your economy. It's a topic that's hard to ignore these days. Because frankly, it's not looking so hot. The numbers are troubling and the trends are even more concerning. By 2050, you might not even be in the global top 10. That's a stark contrast to your current standing. Yeah, you heard that right. Gone. Out of the club. It's a scenario that's hard to imagine, but it's becoming increasingly plausible. Now I know what you're thinking. John, you're being dramatic. But am I? Let's break it down. The signs are all there. The indicators are flashing red and the warning bells are ringing. Aging population, sluggish tech adoption, Brexit, EU instability. These are not just minor hiccups, they're significant challenges. It's a recipe for disaster, like trying to make a souffle in a hurricane. The conditions are far from ideal. Don't get me wrong, Europe has its strengths. Your educational institutions are world-class and your workforce is highly skilled. You've got amazing universities, a skilled workforce, and centuries of innovation under your belt. These are formidable assets. But you're resting on your laurels, like a retired soccer player who refuses to stop wearing his old jersey. Nostalgia is great, but it won't drive future growth. It's time for a wake-up call, Europe. The world is moving fast and you need to keep up. The world is changing and you need to change with it. Embrace the future, invest in new technologies and adapt to the shifting landscape. Or risk being left behind. The choice is yours, Europe. The future is in your hands. You have the potential to turn things around. With the right strategies and a forward-thinking mindset, you can reclaim your position on the global stage. It will require collaboration, innovation, and a willingness to take bold steps. But if any continent can do it, it's you, Europe. So let's get to work. The future is bright, but only if you seize the moment and make the necessary changes. Here's to a new dawn, Europe. Let's make it count. Let's start with the elephant in the room, or rather, the lack of elephants. Europe is facing a demographic crisis that is hard to ignore. Europe's population is aging faster than a banana in a time-lapse video. The continent is becoming a haven for the elderly, with more people retiring than entering the workforce. Birth rates are plummeting like a skydiver with a faulty parachute. Fewer babies are being born, leading to empty maternity wards, deserted playgrounds, and classrooms that echo with silence. Not enough babies means fewer workers, which means a shrinking economy. It's basic math, folks. The workforce is the backbone of any economy, and without a steady influx of young workers, the system starts to falter. Think of it like this: your economy is a car. Workers are the engine. A robust engine keeps the car running smoothly, but if the engine starts to fail, the car slows down. Fewer workers mean a weaker engine. The car, or in this case the economy, struggles to keep up with the demands placed upon it. And a weaker engine means you're not going to win any races, especially against countries with turbocharged economies like China and India. These nations are surging ahead with their youthful populations and dynamic growth. And let's not forget about the strain on social services. An aging population requires more healthcare, more social support, and more resources. More retirees and fewer workers mean higher taxes and a strained healthcare system. The burden falls on the younger generation to support the growing number of elderly citizens. It's a vicious cycle, like being stuck on a merry-go-round that's going way too fast. The faster it spins, the harder it is to get off, and the more dizzying the ride becomes. To break this cycle, Europe needs to find ways to encourage higher birth rates and attract young immigrants. Creating a more family-friendly environment and offering incentives for young families could be part of the solution. Embracing innovation and diversity can also help rejuvenate the economy. By fostering a culture of creativity and inclusivity, Europe can build a more sustainable and dynamic future. Ultimately, bridging the gap between generations and creating a society where both the young and the old can thrive together is key. It's about finding balance and ensuring that everyone has a role to play in the future of Europe. Remember that car analogy? Well, Europe's engine isn't just small, it's also running on fumes. You're lagging behind in technological innovation. While the US and China are sprinting ahead in artificial intelligence, renewable energy, and biotechnology, Europe is stuck in the slow lane fiddling with the radio. Now, I'm not saying Europe isn't making any progress, but it's like trying to outrun a cheetah on a bicycle. You might be pedaling as fast as you can, but you're still going to get left in the dust. To compete in the 21st century, Europe needs to become a hotbed of innovation. That means investing in research and development, fostering startups, and embracing new technologies. Otherwise, you risk becoming a technological museum full of impressive relics but stuck in the past. Let's face it, Europe. The world's economic center of gravity is shifting eastward. China and India are like those kids in school who were always underestimated, and now they're suddenly acing every test and becoming the coolest kids in class. These Asian powerhouses have massive populations, rapidly growing economies, and they're investing heavily in technology. They're hungry, they're ambitious, and they're coming for your spot at the top. Europe needs to recognize this new reality and adapt. This means strengthening trade relationships with Asia, learning from their successes, and finding ways to collaborate. Ignoring them is like pretending the sun isn't rising. It's not going to work. Section 5, Brexit bites back. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room that is shaped like a giant self-inflicted wound. Brexit. Remember that? The whole "let's leave the EU" thing? Yeah, well, it turns out that decoupling from the world's largest trading bloc has consequences. Who knew? Brexit has created uncertainty, slowed economic growth, and damaged trade relationships. It's like trying to bake a cake and then throwing a wrench into the oven. You're not going to get a delicious dessert, just a big messy problem. Section 6, a house divided, EU instability. Speaking of problems, let's not forget about the ongoing saga of EU instability. Internal divisions, political turmoil, and economic disparities. It's like watching a reality TV show where everyone is fighting and nothing gets done. The EU needs to get its act together. That means finding common ground, addressing internal issues, and presenting a united front to the world. Otherwise, it risks becoming irrelevant, like a band that keeps breaking up and getting back together but hasn't had a hit song in years. Section 7. The price of inaction. So what happens if Europe doesn't change its ways? Well, the future looks bleak, like watching a black and white movie while eating plain oatmeal. Bleak. Imagine a Europe with a stagnant economy, high unemployment, and declining global influence. Imagine a Europe struggling to maintain its social safety nets, its infrastructure crumbling, and its best minds fleeing to more dynamic parts of the world. It's not pretty, is it? Section 8. Innovation is key, a roadmap for Europe's future. As we look ahead, it's clear that innovation will be the driving force behind Europe's success. The future is not something that just happens, it's something we create. And for Europe, that means embracing new ideas, technologies, and ways of thinking. But hey, don't despair just yet. The challenges we face are significant, but they are not insurmountable. With the right mindset and a collective effort, we can overcome them. It's not all doom and gloom. There are countless opportunities waiting to be seized. Every challenge is an opportunity in disguise, and Europe has the potential to turn these challenges into triumphs. Europe still has time to turn things around. The clock is ticking, but with decisive action we can set a new course for a brighter future. But it requires bold action, like a superhero movie montage of training montages. Imagine a Europe where every individual and organization is working together, training hard, and pushing their limits to achieve greatness. First, invest in education and skills training. Our future depends on the next generation being equipped with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed. Your workforce needs the tools to thrive in the digital age. This means not just basic education, but continuous learning and development. Think coding, data science, artificial intelligence. These are the fields that will drive the future economy, and Europe must be at the forefront of these advancements. Second, become a leader in renewable energy and sustainability. The world is moving towards a greener future, and Europe has the resources and the talent to lead this charge. The green economy is booming, and it's not just about saving the planet. It's about creating jobs, driving innovation, and building a sustainable future, and Europe can be at the forefront. By investing in green technologies and sustainable practices, Europe can set an example for the rest of the world. Third, streamline regulations and bureaucracy. Red tape can stifle innovation and growth, so it's crucial to make it easier for businesses to operate, make it easier for businesses to start and grow. By simplifying processes and reducing unnecessary regulations, we can foster a more dynamic and competitive business environment. Think of it as cutting through red tape with a giant pair of scissors. Removing these barriers will unleash a wave of entrepreneurial spirit and innovation. Fourth, strengthen the EU, not weaken it. Unity is strength, and in a world that is increasingly interconnected, a united Europe is more important than ever, especially in a world increasingly defined by competition. By working together, sharing resources, and supporting each other, Europe can stand strong on the global stage and ensure a prosperous future for all its citizens. Section 9. A race against time. Look, the clock is ticking. Europe is at a crossroads. The choices made today will determine its fate for decades to come. Will it rise to the challenge and reinvent itself for the 21st century? Or will it fade into irrelevance, a cautionary tale of missed opportunities and a glorious past? The world is watching Europe, and so am I. Don't let us down.